We are in the kitchen today because I am struggling for sunlight, so. Oh my gosh, something stinks. So I think it goes without saying that credit and cash are both important, if not equally important, but I found that throughout my journey I've always focused on one slightly more than the other, and of course that was depending on, you know, the goals that I had at the time as well as what I had to work with. And I said in a previous video that credit is king in the season that I am in. I view credit as king right now, and here's why. So I started my debt-free journey in 2016, and during that time when I'm paying off debt, cash was very much king, obviously, because I need to pay back these balances. And how do I do that? By having cash to use as, you know, payment. So I was heavily focused on increasing my income, climbing the corporate ladder, living on, you know, a bare bones budget, side hustling, doing whatever I could to increase my cash flow so that I could pay off these debts. But even in the midst of that, I will say I am grateful to God that I was still mindful of my credit. I was not aware, like I was really ignorant when it came to the topic of credit, as in like I just did not have any knowledge around it. But I still knew that people were saying this thing, you know, a credit score is important, and I figured that I would need it in the future. So I was still mindful of doing things that would not hurt my credit and to somewhat focus on improving it. So in a sense, I was paying off debt and increasing my credit score at the same time. And a couple of years into the debt-free journey, I started to learn more about credit, and I saw credit as a way to help me pay off debt, as in like to help me increase my cash flow. So I use credit as a strategy. Like it was very intentional, me really going hard when it came to increasing my credit score. And that was because, you know, I'm low income, I'm a single mom, I don't have a lot of money, so I need to maximize the cash that I do have. And with them interest rates, it was really difficult to do. So I wanted to refinance my auto loan. Obviously I need a healthy credit score, so I got it up to refinance my auto loan, and then I leveraged the credit score that I had worked hard for to get 0% intro APRs, and I got them, you know, quite easily because I had done the work to start the refinance process. And both of those things did help me increase my cash flow. So I was still focusing on cash, but I had an eye out for credit as well. And so that helped me to actually create more room in my budget, because that lowered my auto loan payment by like over $100. And then if I have a 0% intro period on credit cards, I'm not having to share my payment with interest, which means that I'm paying off these balances a lot faster. And as I'm paying down debt balances, obviously I have more money to work with in my budget. Now, fast forward to now, and my focus has shifted heavily to credit. I've done the debt payoff thing. I paid off consumer debt minus my new auto loan. And so now the season that I'm in, I really want to focus on investing and building wealth, because I've done the years of saving and paying off debt, and it's time to go hard on these investments. I'm still a single mom, so my income is only going to stretch so far. And one thing I will say is that as my kids get older, I'm noticing that they are more and more expensive. You know, my income is only going to go so far when it comes to our expenses, and our expenses are increasing, and not just inflation wise, I mean just lifestyle wise. They've got sports, you know, I've got my own expenses, we've got medical bills, things coming out from my behind left and right. And so if I focus just solely on my income and trying to increase my income, I'm going to be sitting for a while. Like, I know that people can increase their income, like quadruple their income in a short period of time, but realistically, is that going to work for everybody? Is that going to be the norm? Absolutely not. I don't believe it. it sounds good, but I feel like most of the time it's going to be a slow and steady increase. And so, you know, keeping it a buck, if I just try to save another 20, 30,000 on my income, it's going to take me some years to do that. And I don't have time to be waiting around for years to get started on these investments that I'm planning and mapping out in my head. Like, I've got to get started now. Time is an asset. My kids are getting older. I need to start building wealth for them to have a strong foundation to stand on when they're 18 and they, you know, go off into the world. I have got to get started on these investments, and one way in which I can get started now is leveraging the credit score that I worked so hard for over the years. And I think that the best and biggest lesson that I've learned over, you know, my 31 years of life is to never be married to one point of view or one idea, to allow room and space for your point of view to grow and evolve, because that's what life is. Life is always changing, and so your point of view and your beliefs and your perspective, those things are going to change as well, and it's going to align with, you know, your current reality. So will I always think credit is king? Probably not. Probably not. My thoughts will probably change, and that's okay. And speaking of allowing your point of view to change, one thing while I was drowning in debt I could not grasp was the good versus bad debt thing. Like, I'm like, what do you mean there's such a thing as good debt? All debt is bad debt. I could not understand why someone would want to leverage credit to fund investments. To me, it was dumb, and I couldn't comprehend why someone would want to do that. That's because I'm drowning in debt. I'm super uncomfortable. I barely have money to make the payments, and I'm like, why would I go back in debt for something else, you know? That I just wanted to be completely debt free. I was like, it's dumb. You should just pay for it or save for it first, and then XYZ. But like I had said, you know, earlier in the video, if you are just relying on your income, if I am just relying on my income right now, and I am relying on it to save another $20,000, $30,000 for my next investment, I'm going to be saving for a while. I'm going to be saving for a long time. I am, you know, I have just enough to cover unexpected expenses in this home, which a lot of them have been popping up. And just right now, it's not feasible. It's just going to take me a long time. And so I have complete faith that my investments will, you know, produce enough income for me to fund other investments. I have complete faith, you know, that it will allow me to build wealth for my children and for myself, and for my family as well, going into partnership with my family. I am moving solely based on faith and, of course, strategy. All that to say is that I get it now. Like, when it comes to, you know, my job, I'm not a corporate baddie. I do not want to climb the corporate ladder any more than what I have already climbed. I am good. I love my job. I love my job. I love my job. And for a while, I tried to convince myself that I didn't love my job when I was seeing everyone pivot to tech, you know, 6-figure salaries, heavily increasing their income. And so it made me second guess my job that I knew I loved, and now all of a sudden I'm like, I need to get my resume together and get on LinkedIn and, you know, follow the corporate baddies. But it's just being okay with me. I love my job, and I don't want to climb the corporate ladder for a higher salary. And I feel like I really had to stop and listen to God on that, and thank God, woo child, thank God I did. I do know that there have been a lot of layoffs, especially in tech for the higher paying positions, and not saying, oh, thank God that's why I didn't do it. Just thank God, because I knew I would have been miserable, and that wasn't where I was supposed to be. I was supposed to stay where I am, and just find other ways to get to my vision and to reach my goals. And so I will say that there are levels to this. There are levels to what I am saying, or the season that I'm in. Like, you know, get your mind right, get your budget together, pay off those debts that are sucking up your income, you know, establish your savings so you have your safety net, and then work on increasing your credit and leverage the heck out of it, you know, but be smart about it. Do your research, you know, if you are a person of faith, bring it to God, go into partnership with God, and then stay true to yourself. All that to say, credit is king in my life right now. I'm talking about my life. It may not work for yours, but I'm curious to hear, like, down below, what are your thoughts on good debt versus bad debt? Do you really think there's good debt and there's bad debt? Like, how are you feeling about leveraging your credit? Where are you in your financial journey? Let's talk down below. If I could talk today, be classy, let's keep it cute. I know how the people like to tussle when it comes to any type of money topic, but I am still curious to hear your perspective and kind of, you know, what has created that perspective that you have over this topic. But I will catch you guys in the next video.